All right, hello everyone. I know it's been something of a while, but we're doing Address to Sess here on what I think many people consider a rather special week. Friday, the PlayStation 4 launches. A lot of embargoes on games and the system itself lifted today, so there is a lot to talk about. Though we can also discuss how that Francis Bacon portrait went for $140 million at Christie's. That was a very large piece of news as well that had me completely like, wow. That's a lot of money for a portrait of Lucian Freud, but it's kind of awesome all at the same time.
I think we'll split our time about 50-50 between talking about
I think we will.
I think we will. Painting.
Yeah, we need to gravitate towards talking about the art market because it's so fascinating. Anyway, obviously Nick Robinson is here. Everyone say hi to Nick.
Hello.
Nick, are you excited? Is this like a special launch week?
It is exactly like a special launch week.
Okay, I have to ask you, how old were you the last time there was a launch week?
Oh my gosh. Well, I camped out for the. This is embarrassing. I camped out for the Wii when I was what was I? Seven? I was in high school still. I remember camping out for the Wii and going home and playing some midnight Wii Sports tennis at my friend's house.
Was it exciting?
Yep. Yeah, it was.
Wait, when you say camped out, did you actually spend the night, like the day before?
I camped out in front of a Walmart in Durham, North Carolina, to get a Nintendo Wii.
All right. Well, that's devotion.
Hindsight is 20/20, I guess.
Well, I don't know. I remember going to Universal City Walk with a lot of people from G4. We had quite a bit of fun waiting until midnight to actually get ours as well. It was an exciting time back then.
Yeah.
All right. Should we start bringing some people in?
Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll distribute that link publicly. In the interim, though, we've got all sorts of YouTube nonsense already happening. Believe it or not. Yeah.
Get out of here. Really?
Yep. For the first time ever, we've decided YouTube comments are worth reading. So let's see what we've got in here.
All right, what do we got?
We've got one question coming in from Google Plus, actually, asking, do you think that the first day of release for either of these consoles will be enough to determine what will happen like for the rest of the lifespan?
Oh no, I don't think so. I think we're not going to really see what that shakeout is going to be probably till the first quarter of next year. A couple weeks back, I was at the GameSpeak conference, and I had the pleasure of getting to do a fireside chat and interview Tony Bartel, who's the president of GameStop. And it really sounds like from what he said, he does not expect that they can keep either an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 on their shelves. You know, it's going to move. Like, they are so sold out with pre-orders that they don't think that probably most people could walk into a store and buy one until sometime maybe around March, perhaps even later. Once that's possible, that's when I start to see how there might be sort of a shakeout. Because right now, I think a lot of people know what they want and they're going to get it. It's when we get to that kind of next market, the people who want a new console but haven't made up their mind now and they're not as informed, that's where we're going to start to see how those numbers are going to be breaking down. But I bet it might even be 50-50 or slightly in Sony's favor for the short term. It's going to come down to supply. I think that's going to be a huge deal, supply. All right. Who we got in there? Look at this whole new setup on Google Plus Hangouts. Kind of nice. Actually, Nick, you're muted. Unmute yourself, Nick.
Oh my God. You'd think by now the two people who would know that would be you and me, but
yeah.
Nope, I done mute myself.
Everyone knows, I'm actually coming to you from Casa Sessler here in San Francisco. I was at home today, so you might see small things of mine in the background, like my Muhammad Ali poster that I have over my desk. I'm very proud of it.
Your iPhone charger. Now we know what kind of phone Adam Sessler uses.
Yeah, exactly. What a shocker there.
Well, let's talk to Colin.
All right. Colin, how are you?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you reaching us from?
Ithaca, New York.
Ithaca, New York. All right. Is it? I assume is the winter settling in? It was pretty chilly in New York City when I was there a couple days ago.
Oh yeah, it was like I don't know, 28 degrees.
Okay, that's really cold.
Freezing.
To my thin California blood, that is terrifying. That's almost incomprehensible to me. So, Colin, what's on your mind? Are you Sony focused, or are you?
Oh, 100%.
Cool.
100% Sony.
Are you getting your console on Friday?
I'm hoping so, but my parents are strict, so.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a big.
Do you need me to intervene, or?
I hope so. Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely.
so what's on your mind? Assuming something Sony related is on your mind.
Well, I have a few ideas of questions, of course.
Hmm.
One is, will PlayStation Home be on the PlayStation 4?
You know what? A lot of people have asked me that, and I forgot to check on that. There might be. Is there anyone in chat who even has an answer for that?
I don't know.
Uh,
I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Did you like Home on the PS3?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think that there should be some improvements on the system,
Yeah,
like
it
the
was.
loading time and stuff like that.
But there's also just kind of the strange behavior that seemed to manifest inside of PlayStation Home.
Oh yeah,
But okay,
yeah.
let's assume that Home is not, at least not out of the gate. What
Hmm.
is the first thing you're going to do with the PS4?
Um, Good question. Hmm. Probably just test out the thing where you use the camera and there's like these robots that you
Yeah,
could play
I
on.
think it's called the Playroom.
Yeah, that
It's
looks cool.
not only is it just kind of like sweet, and I was definitely smiling when it was being presented to me.
Hmm.
The fidelity of it is really kind of like shocking. Both like the image of yourself that's coming through the PlayStation Eye, but then also
Hmm.
the animated characters. It was all quite pretty and quite it was kind of an eyeful, sumptuous for lack of a better word, I would say.
Yeah.
Tell me if I either dreamed this or heard this somewhere, but I remember hearing that Double Fine, the Happy Action Theater team, is going to do DLC for that built-in PS4 app.
That would be awesome. That is the first I've heard of it, Nick.
I
It's
will
funny.
Google away.
I've had strange dreams as well where I can't tell if I have fact or something that was just invented inside of my subconscious. I've had those moments of pause in the past couple of weeks. That's really funny. Well, Colin, you just hang out there for a second. Do you want to bring someone
Okay.
else in, Nick?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk to James.
James.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
First time caller, long time stalker. So
We have reached that point where really is the newest form of call-in talk radio. It's kind of funny. Where are you reaching us from, James?
actually, Canada,
Oh, nice. Where in Canada?
Ontario, actually.
Ontario? Okay. I was wondering if we're going to get somebody from Toronto so I can just express my apologies for what's happening in that city. My God. The stuff today from Rob Ford was just amazing.
Yeah, I've been watching that, and I've just been laughing the entire time.
That is amazing. I don't know what it takes to be a mayor these days, but between San Diego and Toronto, it's something else. Anyway, back to video games, which I assume you wanted to chat about, unless you want to talk about Francis Bacon. Are you excited about the PS4, or are you getting one?
I'm actually right now kind of sitting back and thinking about it all. There's so much in the air of like, well, this has got this has got that, and I'm just like, I'm gonna wait and see how it all pans out, like maybe a month or two down the road after everything's down.
So you haven't even decided on which of the new consoles you're thinking about getting. You want to see what happens?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of more leaning towards more the PlayStation 4 than the
Mm-hmm.
Xbox One because, well, Xbox One's kind of seeming to have, at least on the technical side, a lot of downfalls to it, whereas the PlayStation 4 so far is pulling straight ahead.
Well, I mean, yeah, obviously all the stuff involving resolution, involving frame rate, at least with the launch games. One thing that really struck me, because yes, I said that resolution isn't the end-all be-all. One thing I think is very important is frame rate, and that's 60 frames a second. And one thing that really struck me when I was playing the Killzone multiplayer is how much you can feel that frame rate. It's a weird sensation. Some people almost describe it as something that's slow, but I like it as deliberate. Like I know where my reticle is going with a sense of assurance that I think was not common for a lot of shooters on this generation of consoles. So, what kind of games do you like to play?
I run the gamut, honestly. I play role-playing games like Witcher, Witcher 2. I play real-time strategy like StarCraft 2. Oh God, I'm all over the map.
That's pretty good, and I'm glad you like The Witcher. That is one of my most favorite franchises in games Period. I absolutely adore it. So, all right. Well, so about 2 months from now, what do you think you might hear, or are you just waiting to see what other people say with their experiences with the PlayStation 4 before you buy it?
Honestly, as it currently stands, I don't know what to expect. It's a brand new console, brand new technology. Everything's all just brand new. So
Yeah.
I just want to sit and kind of go, well, what's going to happen? Is Microsoft going to do another 180 with all their stuff and basically say, no, you can't have all this, that, and the other? Is PlayStation kind of going to jump on the same bandwagon, that that Microsoft was on at their launch?
I think, honestly, I think that around the time that Infamous comes out, I think it's going to be another spike in interest in the PlayStation 4. I played a tiny bit of it this week, and just kind of holding that game and those controls in my hands again, I realized how much I love that franchise, and I'm really, really looking forward to playing that. So I think that's kind of, it's unfortunate Infamous is not with the launch of the PlayStation 4. I think that would have really helped round out the launch lineup, because that loss of Watch Dogs, I think it's Sony's feeling that probably a little bit more than Microsoft is, but I think that's gonna with Infamous Second Son, I think it's gonna help have a broader and more robust library within that first window. So, all right, well, Nick, do you want to bring someone else in? James, you just hang out there. Colin, feel free to jump in there if you think of something.
Yeah.
Cool.
In the meantime, I've got some Google Plus questions here from the Q&A section on our event page. Steve Banazak says, "Do you think the PlayStation camera will bring the same type of player interactivity as the Kinect 2? For example, pushing zombies in Dead Rising 2 by moving the controller around?"
I think the opportunities are there. In fact, I wasn't as prepared for what the camera could do until I sort of saw it in action a couple of days ago, and it definitely is closer to what Kinect is doing than I was prepared for. Here's the one issue. This is why, and I know a lot of people disagreed with me, why I supported Microsoft's decision to bundle in the Kinect camera with every single Xbox One, and that lets the developers know it's available. That's a little bit different with the PlayStation 4 camera, because developers don't know if someone has it or someone doesn't. So in terms of types of integration, I worry this might set it up where the game has to play without the camera, so what the motions might add to the game may be superficial, whereas there really is a case to be made with the Kinect on Xbox One that you can have something that is far more integral to the play experience. Having said that, look, the camera works, and I would love to see some stuff that goes with that. There's one developer in particular that has got to do something interesting with that camera, and that's Media Molecule. I mean, their kind of crazy imagination and what they kind of hinted at back when the PlayStation 4 was announced. I'm really hoping, and I'm almost certain that we'll get to see some integration of the camera. Probably the most kind of significant is going to come from that team out there in England.
Yeah,
So.
It's easy to imagine, because like looking at Tearaway and the sort of crazy, they've taken even the Vita's dumbest, most ignored features. It seems like they found cute, interesting uses for in Tearaway.
The level of inventiveness that's at Media Molecule is so astonishing that it's like, any new facet, just throw it at them, and they'll figure out like the coolest thing you could do with it. All right.
Sweet. Well, yeah. Let's hear from Jason.
Jason.
Jason. There he is. Jason.
That name will be forever. Oh, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Adam. Big fan since Tech TV. So.
Thanks so much, man. Where are you?
Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay, cool. Nice. So what's on your mind? Are you big? Are you getting your PS4? Are you getting it on Friday?
Not launch.
Okay.
I didn't pre-order, so I don't know what my chances are really. Just walking in and hey, PS4.
Yeah, like I said, it might be a few months before they're like, hey, come on in. PS4 is coming out of our.
But definitely we'll be getting a PS4.
Cool.
But my question is for you. How does this launch differ from other launches in the past? Because, I know you've probably been through many. So
I have. I think what makes this one so significant is you never had Microsoft and Sony happening in the same year. It was usually Microsoft or Sony and Nintendo. And so you really are seeing sort of two boxes that I don't want to say that they exclude the other one, but a lot of people sort of said, I'm going to get one of Microsoft or Sony and a Nintendo console. A lot of people think that way. People don't typically say, okay, I'm going to get both Microsoft and Sony, because there is so much crossover, especially with the third-party games. That definitely gives it a sense of contest that I've never seen before. It has definitely brought out passions in some people. It's very, very evident. But I think the other thing is that I was a little bit surprised with is both Microsoft and Sony kind of announced their consoles, did E3, and got really, really quiet. There hasn't been as much noise until really right now in the 11th hour. You're really starting to hear things from Microsoft and Sony. I don't know if that was an abundance of caution, because they really didn't know what was going to happen at the launch of it, and they didn't want to say something they had to backtrack from, because obviously Microsoft had to backtrack from a lot. But it's an interesting launch. I'm actually most interested in where the marketing money is going and whether or not it's actually all that necessary. If so many of these pre-orders are already sold out, how much television advertising do you really want to spend? I mean, it becomes kind of pointless. You want to start doing those big ad buys maybe 3-4 months when you can walk into a store and buy one of these right off the shelf.
Right.
Yeah. So what do you think? March, April? Do you think you'll be able to get yourself a PS4?
Hopefully before my code ends on the, like, you know how you can buy a PS3 version of some games and get the, so hopefully before then I can grab it.
When does that end?
Well, for Ghost, it's March 31st, 2014.
All right. Well, let's cross our fingers that this all works out for you there, Jason.
So hopefully.
I hadn't really considered that. But yeah, there is kind of a sense of time pressure and race to be able to upgrade that stuff. Nick?
We actually have a relevant question from the YouTube chat here. Random JRPG says, would either of us, speaking to you and me, Adam, would either of us buy the systems at launch we were not obligated to due to being in the industry?
I mean, it's an interesting question, and I said, hold off. I think that you are not missing anything extraordinary by not buying a system at launch, but there is an undeniable appeal and novelty of getting something new when it's at its freshest and its newest. I mean, you never get the best software at a launch. That's just a fact. I mean, you have your two launch games were incredibly important, and I'd say really defined that generation, and that's Mario 64 and Wii Sports. Halo was a really, really big game, but it's not like it remade the shooter. I think that don't feel like you're missing out on something if you're not getting it. And that, I don't know when. I don't expect there to be much of a price drop even at the end of next year. So price isn't really a reason to hold out. But perhaps if you really are undecided which one you want, wait and see what the launch lineup's going to be through the rest of 2014. That could be a far bigger deciding factor than anything that's happening right now.
Are you saying that you don't think Luigi's Mansion changed the world? It didn't turn video games on next year?
I really am one of those guys that did not like Luigi's Mansion. I think also because it was a launch game on the GameCube, it made me more keenly aware how I was not playing a Mario game.
I can't believe you would say that in the year of Luigi.
Oh, that's right, it is the year of Luigi.
Unbelievable.
It's like the year of everything right now.
Yeah.
It's like the year of the year of the year. That's what I think it is.
Oh, man.
Do you think we'll ever get a year of Waluigi?
I don't think so. No. That would. I actually tried to envision the Nintendo Direct where that's announced. And I kind of see a vortex opening up.
I don't know if you had time to watch today's Nintendo Direct, but
I did not.
They're getting so weird. Like, it opens with a skit of Bill Trennan going into an elevator, and then Reggie is talking to him through the speaker on the elevator. He's possessed it. And it's like this whole elaborate skit. They've just gotten...
It's like one of those Kojima videos that they would put at the Konami press conferences?
Yes, I feel like this was ghost directed by Mega 64. It was.
I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hear from who else we got? Do we really have two Jasons?
Uh-oh. Jason.
Double Jason.
That's a problem.
All right.
Double Jason.
Jason number 2.
All right, Doppel Jason.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Where are you reaching us from?
Tampa.
Tampa. All right. We definitely have a lot of different parts of the United States here. We got Ithaca, we got Colorado Springs, and now we got Tampa. Well, Jason, so big on the PS4. You getting one in a couple of days?
Yes, I am. I am getting one on Friday, and I also took advantage of Amazon's buy two get one free PS4
Yeah,
game.
that was a pretty nice deal.
Yeah.
I just found out about that. So what games are you getting?
Well, I'm big into platformers, and I like new IPs, so I want to give Knack a try, because it may not be the greatest thing ever, but it looks like it's a good start for something that may become really big, and also Mark Cerny, so I trust that.
And you know what's funny? You know what game it's more like than I was expecting? It's
What?
got more in common with God of War than I was prepared for. I think it is an action platformer. Don't get me wrong, but when you play it, yeah, it's kind of interesting how that all works out. But
Yeah.
go on, Jason.
And I also wanted to get the Lego Marvel Superheroes game, so took advantage of that. And for my free game, I know a couple of my buddies want to play Madden, so I'll get the new Madden.
All right.
game.
All right.
So,
yeah.
that's
very
the free
interested.
one.
Yeah. No, that's good. No. I'm also, and I haven't played it yet. I really want to see the NBA 2K game because those are always like the prettiest games of the year. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see how they look on a new console. So okay, so you're going to get all three of these. So you're not going to get Killzone.
No, I'm not really big on shooters, and
Oh, okay,
that's,
well then you definitely don't want to get Killzone. That
Yeah.
would be a horrible, horrible mistake.
yeah, I mean that's one of the things why I kind of go with Sony over Microsoft, because Microsoft, for me, usually their main exclusives seem to focus around that shooting aspect, when Sony's IPs seem more different,
I agree.
like
I agree.
all over the place.
I
And
mean, I think one of the things that one can safely be buying into, or even though games haven't been announced, is that Sony's tradition of investing in interesting IP. You know, like we can all debate whether or not David Cage makes good games, but it's very hard to imagine Microsoft bankrolling anything like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls. And I think that's something where I think the Sony cachet really, really is strong. Now, in the interview I did with Phil Spencer, they said that they are looking to kind of get back into dealing with these new IPs. That's yet to be seen. That's definitely one I'd be taking on faith with Microsoft, and one I'm very, very confident with when thinking about Sony.
exactly, and I do hope Naughty Dog does a new IP. I mean, that's what I want to see.
I would like to think so. I mean, after Last of
Yeah.
Us, I mean, clearly there's creativity there. There's enough to burn. I want to see their bad games these days.
And then also with the PS4, right off the bat, you get Contrast, and you also get Resogun for free.
Okay, yeah, that's free with PS Plus.
That's right. I have PS Plus.
Resogun is just one of those games that just feels and looks so good. Like there's so much kind of visual feedback for doing things correctly in that game. Yeah, I have played that. And I really, really enjoy it.
And if I'm not mistaken, the PS4 comes with PlayStation Plus trial membership. So basically, everyone who buys one at launch
kind of gets the game. So yeah. It works out. It works out well. I was and I guess I should have known this, and I didn't. The internet, believe it or not, was chastising me that the free-to-play games that are also available on the PlayStation 4 do not require PlayStation Plus, so they actually stay free. So something like Blacklight Retribution, DC Universe Online, those are available for free, like right there on the box. So it's kind of cool.
Yes.
All right, Nick. Anything out there in the chats and the discussions?
Yeah.
Are there fires burning that need to be put out?
It sounds like there might be one.
Actually, yeah. I live in a part of San Francisco where there are constant sirens.
Yeah.
It's a little something else.
So Garrett Lazingame on Google Plus with 13 plus ones on this question. Actually, he says, as an RPG fan, the PS4 comes across as a source of standard Squeenix affair and ports of already released games. With the exception of Child of Light, is there any reason for someone like me to have a PS4 before mid-2015? So I think he's coming at the PS4 from the perspective of an RPG fan.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not aware of other RPGs. Of course, that was no small thing that happened at the PlayStation press conference at E3. Obviously, Final Fantasy 15, Kingdom Hearts 3. I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to say the bread and butter, but Sony really staked out its position with the PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 on the backs of Japanese RPGs. Now, I would be very surprised if they started to steer away. Now, let's be fair, Japanese RPGs are not selling as well as they once did back in the heyday of Square, where they seemed to be able to do no wrong. So whether or not we're going to see a ton of them in the near future it's an interesting question. If it matters that much, I would definitely go into a wait-and-see position. But I don't necessarily suddenly see some weird shift happen and all these JRPGs are going to the Xbox One and they're not going to the PlayStation 4. That would be shocking. What I do see is a potential future with just very few JRPGs.
Hey, only also Persona 5 is almost definitely going to be announced 11 days from now. They put up this teaser site that someone looked at the IPs and it's the same IP for Persona 5.jp and this teaser site announcing something on November 24th. So
there we go. See, that's what I'm looking forward to. Get these silly boxes out. And then I want people to start talking about the games that are going to be made available on them. I'm so much more interested in games and in these damn boxes with their RAMs and their hard drives and their things. Actually, I really like. I find the controller part fascinating because I'm just in love with the PS4 controller. It just feels so good in my hand.
Yeah, it's my favorite controller right now. I can't think of anything I'd rather hold than it.
And you know what I wasn't prepared for is what the width of, I guess, the sticks. The little prongy things, I don't even know what you call them, but they're wider than I expected, and they just allow my hand to be in a position it seems to want to be in, which really I think has been something that's been elusive on all controllers, with maybe the exception of the GameCube, which I also really liked, because I'm weird.
Yeah, I like the GameCube too. I like the weird gate around.
It was the dumbest looking controller I ever saw, but it played really well.
It looked like an alien spaceship. All right, so let's talk to Jonathan here.
All right, Jonathan. I like that name. That's my brother's name.
Hey, Jonathan.
Yep.
Hey, Jonathan.
Oh, come on.
No, you had it. Unmute yourself.
Oh, now it's working. Hi, hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, yeah. Really,
Where are you reaching us from?
I'm from the UK.
Oh, nice.
It's midnight, and...
Well, thank you for staying up.
Yeah.
Are you in a dorm? I can sort of see a sign behind you that would indicate that.
Yeah, it's my first year of uni.
All right. Which university?
It's the University of East Anglia in Norwich, in Norfolk.
Yeah, I actually spent a year in London at Queen Mary Westfield College. Out in the Mile End Road. Obviously, nowhere near East Anglia, I understand. I know that.
Yeah.
But I actually missed the English university experience. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
So, okay, you're a college student, which means you probably aren't, like, swimming in pounds sterling. So, are you even looking to get yourself a new console at all?
Well, I probably will get a PS4 in a couple of years' time.
Okay, yeah.
So, I've always had Sony's consoles since about 1999. I got my first PlayStation, which I played the hell out of that. Same with my PS2. I got my PlayStation 3, I think in 2009, which was a long time after launch.
Yeah.
So
and there was a nice library of games available.
There was. I noticed, in my opinion, I'm more of a platformer. But I have, over the PS3 era, I've kind of increased my genre of
You've broadened your horizons?
Yeah, massive, like Rockstar's games. I've started to really get into them. What else is there? Like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls. I really want to get Beyond Two Souls eventually, but what I'm trying to say is I do feel personally that the launch titles this year for Sony are quite they're good, but I don't think they are quite as a wide variety as I was hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and obviously some other sides, I tend to agree. There's nothing that feels essential about the launch games. I think, unfortunately, obviously they had to push Drive Club, and I think it's always good to have a racing game, because one of the things I believe happens when a lot of people get new consoles, you tend to buy games you wouldn't normally buy, because you want to get new stuff to go with it. I think Sony was a little bit too reliant on Watch Dogs to help round out. I mean, look, I think Microsoft was hurt by Watch Dogs. I think that was kind of a blow, because that was the definition of the next-gen game. Ubisoft really had pulled that off. But, I wouldn't say it's an essential lineup of games, but the games are out there. Obviously, you have the third parties like Call of Duty, like Battlefield, like Assassin's Creed. But I do see what you're saying. And one of the things about waiting 2 years, you can get all these other games that have already been out for it, and they tend to be really cheap.
Yeah.
Because they're half price. You can buy them.
I did notice that. I can't remember my PS3 library at the moment, but I did. I got about six. I bought 6 games when I got my PS3, and some of them, I think I got a Formula One game, and I don't think I've touched that for a few years. It's one of them games that looked good, and I wanted it, but I've never revisited it. But I'll probably go back to it in this lull period. And I know before I get a PS4, I'm going to really get lots more PS3 games.
Exhaust the entire PS3 library.
Yeah.
Then it'll probably be about the right time for a price drop on the PlayStation 4.
And a good variety as well.
Yeah. Well, see, you're planning there, Jonathan. I like that. That must be why you're a university student. All that advanced thinking and planning and critical stuff. And things like that. Nick, were you this astute?
Oh, no, not even
college.
So. Adam, like I said, I camped out for a Wii, so my strategic planning was not what I was known for.
Yeah, a lot of college for me was like I was just happy if I got my pants on the second try.
Back in the years when you still wore pants.
Yeah, back when pants felt more obligatory than they do now.
I'm a college student too, just so you know.
Which one was that? Sorry.
That was Colin.
It's me.
Colin. So,
I'm a college student, second year at a community college at it's called TC3, or Thompson's Community College type of deal. So what I'm doing there is to learn how to be a video game developer, and right now I have a club that does those things, making games, and I'm thinking of selling my games at some point for Sony, but I have to be a company in order to do that. That's what I heard on the phone. I called Sony and asked.
You mean in terms of making an indie game and getting onto their platform?
Yeah, indie games.
I mean, obviously you would need to have to present yourself as something of a business, but a company can be one person. A company can be just a couple of people. So I wouldn't look at something like that as like that's prohibitive. Like, oh, I got to be a company. How am I going to go be a company? Really, you just go down and start a company.
Yeah, definitely.
File the right paperwork. What kind of games are you interested in making?
Hopefully to make some 3D games that have adventure type of thing where it's like Minecraft except more realistic, or maybe some first-person shooters like Call of Duty except maybe better than Call of Duty, because Call of Duty is so popular these days that it's like EA. It's like they own the place, so they make more and more and more, and you know what I'm trying to say.
I mean, one of these days, that train will come to a halt. I have no idea when that's going to happen. I'm done predicting that this was the year when Call of Duty won't do as well. Although this could be the year, actually, now that I think about it.
Hey, speaking of trying to make impossible predictions, we've got a really good Google Plus question from Nick Mudry, who says, with the way that the consoles change and evolve throughout the years with system updates and patches, where do you think the consoles, this generation of consoles, will evolve to in the next couple of years?
That's an interesting question. In terms of updates, I think one of the things is they're going to try to figure out how to kind of integrate in its own ecosystem that sense of social networking. I mean, that's already very present on the PlayStation 4. It was not my favorite thing about it, but this way in which you can see what all of your friends are doing, it was a little bit too much, it was a little bit too messy. But this idea that you're keeping an eye on your friends and that you can jump into their games and that there's sort of a sense of discussion and you're doing a lot of the sharing, I think we're at a very nascent point with that, and that's what's going to grow. And that's what's going to become more. I can't say I can predict how it's going to manifest itself, but I think that kind of, it's more quiet now, but that kind of social networking aspect is going to become more and more present and probably will find its way deeper into the games and into their design.
Yeah, it's so funny, too, because when you look back at, think about the Xbox 360 and how it launched with the blades, and, Xbox Live Arcade games, I think the size limit was 50 megabytes at first. And now,
I think that sounds right.
50 megabytes, because that was the size of the smallest memory unit. And meanwhile, today we've got games like Blood Dragon and just Brothers and just full-fledged experiences, and like apps were an afterthought. Xbox Live indie games were an afterthought. Like things changed so much after this generation that I think it's like kind of literally impossible to say.
I mean, it's one of those, and I know people get very resistant with the other entertainment functions in the box. Both companies are going to start moving in that direction. I mean, the apps are there. Obviously, they can sell the movies, but there is a lot of money that can be made by selling you things other than just games, and that usually gets sold to other members of the family. That if those are the non-gamers, can still use it inside of the household. So, yeah. That's my prediction. Let's check in 2 years from now and see how I did.
Yeah.
Well, to the point though, did you check out the PlayStation app yet?
I'm sorry, one more time?
I have on iOS.
One? Yeah, I have
They
iPhone.
released the
PlayStation.
They released the PlayStation app today where you could like log into your PSN account and pretty much just like see trophies, see who's online, what they're playing, and stuff like that. And that's perfect. That's pretty much like where the integration and all that is going. And
actually, you know what I really like about that PlayStation app? That becomes your keyboard.
Oh,
So
sweet.
if you are surfing or something like that, you can use that as a keyboard. That resolves the one thing I hate more than anything, which is just kind of moving around damn keyboard things with the sticks, as it takes so long, and I'm not having fun. And that's why I end up calling all my characters in games like Poopy or Shorty or something like that, because like I just hit the O's quite a few times. Nick, you want to bring someone else in?
Yeah, let's talk to Steven.
Steven!
Hey, Adam.
How are you doing?
Doing pretty good.
Good. Where are you?
I am in Southern Maryland right now, in the very
Southern Maryland. All right. And are you about to get yourself a PS4? Are you waiting off?
Actually.
You are?
I am taking Friday off, so I'll be able to play it all day.
That's good. And what are you going to play on it?
Killzone and Resogun. I can't wait for Resogun.
Resogun. I mean, voxels. That's going to be the new word everyone's going to hate next year, but I like it right now. Voxels.
I've never heard that word before until I watched that stream that you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that is kind of, that's quite new, because it really is something that couldn't be handled very easily by the current technology and the current consoles. But there's something, when you play it, you'll see it. There's a je ne sais quoi to what it is about those damn voxels that are sort of aesthetically appealing and add something to it, but it's there. And I highly encourage you to figure out a way to articulate it, because I'm completely flummoxed on it. So I'm curious, did you know you were going to do the PS4 from the get-go, or was it something that you actually kind of wrestled with? Which system you were going to get?
I knew right after they launched, or right after they announced it, I was going to get one. I waited a bit on the Xbox One to actually pre-order one. I have them both pre-ordered.
You actually have both. Okay.
Yeah, I'm the kind of person that I know I'm going to get them probably before they price drop. So if I have the money, I'm going to go ahead and do it.
You just bite the bullet. You're going to do it. All right. Well, I mean, that allows you to kind of rise above the fray that is completely taking over the internet right now. So.
Yeah, I just kind of I was fully against all their online stuff, so I was not pre-ordering. I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. And then the day they canceled all that, I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and get one. Yeah. I'm really excited about Dead Rising 3 after that interview that you did. It looks really good.
I mean, it looks like Dead Rising, and I happen to like Dead Rising, so it works. Actually, the other thing I really like about that Dead Rising is it's got two modes. One that is like the original Dead Rising with that punishing, like every time you die, you have to start the game over. And there's another mode where if you want to see everything, you can just see everything in their save points, and it's generous. So
that's what I couldn't stand about the first two Dead Rising is I wanted to do everything, and I didn't want to just play over again. I just wanted to save everyone, and I couldn't.
I know, and you want to see everything. It's because once again, the gameplay mechanic of the time limit's really cool. The one thing I will say, especially about the first Dead Rising, that is the kind of game that gives reviewers nightmares. For you guys you can spend as much time as you want playing it. It's fine to just go over and do it over and do it over. But when it's like, I got 5-6 days to get through this game, and I got to keep on dying and then restart it. Those are the things they just give me butterflies in my stomach, because I have no idea how long I'm going to be at it. So
yeah, I could totally understand that.
Now, since you're getting both systems, have you considered what third-party titles, which system you're going to play it on? Say like a Battlefield or an Assassin's Creed.
I actually wanted to ask you about that. I'm actually primarily a PC gamer, but I go all over the place. Since I learned that what is it? Destiny is no longer on PC. I'm curious as to which one I should get it on. I'm thinking PS3 or PS4, but.
I mean, really, well, I think it's going to come down to, for a lot of people in your situation, and myself included, because I don't know yet, is going to be that controller. Right now, I really like that PlayStation 4 controller. The only thing that's... Yeah, there you go. Now, the only thing I wonder is if I still have so much muscle memory to the 360 controller that it will be a little bit, if I'm going to find myself gravitating towards an Xbox One for franchises I'm already so familiar with in terms of the button placement, because obviously there's a huge jump in a lot of aspects between the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One controller. I honestly don't know. I think it's something that you're going to want to get comfortable with before you make that call.
I could see that.
I say it's where your friends go.
Yeah, you know what? You're at. For a shooter like Battlefield, that's like the only. Yeah, that should be the primary decision. So you're not just all on your lonesome, just getting shot by strangers. That's just sad. That's actually what usually happens to me.
Normally, that's what I would do. Is just like, okay, everybody's getting on PS4. I'm gonna go get it on PS4. But I just, when's it supposed to come out? Q1 of 2014, right?
Which one, Destiny or?
Destiny.
Destiny, sometime next year.
Yeah, I don't think they've been releasing it in 2014.
I don't think that's actually going to play into it, because I might have one friend who has a console who doesn't even necessarily want to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think it's going to be time for that to actually play.
What a terrifying concept, though, that by the time Destiny comes out, that it's like, I'm going to play with none of my friends. Hey, it's what to make new friends. We can play together. How about that?
I would love to. Would love to.
That actually ties in nicely to a question from the Flop Man, which is fun to say, on YouTube, who asks, when do you think major game franchises like Call of Duty and Battlefield will leave the 360 and PS3 behind and develop exclusively for next gen?
That's a good question. 2 more years, I think. What's really going to dictate this is how many of these units get sold. Because obviously, look, the install base for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 is massive, and it's going to take quite some time for these new consoles to even get close to 50% of those numbers. But at some point, it's also going to become too cost ineffective to try to do all these multiple SKUs of the games, and I would say maybe 1 to 2 years. I bet Call of Duty is going to be the longest holdout, because there's some people that's the game they play, and they may just be just happy to play it on a 360 or a PS3.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's true. Likewise, because like if you are one of those millions of people who plays one game a year and that game is Call of Duty for you, you probably aren't as motivated to buy a whole new game system.
But those people may make up 30 to 40% of those numbers for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how Activision kind of balances that one.
I don't mean to bash Call of Duty, but isn't it going to be the same on both the Xbox One and the 360? Pretty much.
The same game. Like well, one of them's native 1080p, and I happen to say that might not be the biggest deal in the world. Apparently, did I walk into a shitstorm? Oh, God. I think what I was actually, like I said before, 60 frames a second, I actually think is something that really does change the experience of playing a game. And it's quite important. But I think that what I wish I had just said is 1080p, if it's poop and it doesn't look good, now it's just like high-resolution poop. So it really also has to come down to a matter of aesthetics, that the raw number is, I think, something of a misnomer, that it's still sort of what someone can do with that level of resolution.
And for me, those numbers make a difference when I'm playing a PC game. Like watching a video on YouTube is the easiest go-to example. Like the difference between 720p and 1080p is palpable when you're a few inches from your screen. But for me, at least in my situation at home, maybe I have a smaller TV than the rest of the world. But like, it's a little bit less substantial when I'm 10 feet away from the screen.
I mean, look, if all Microsoft games by like the middle of next year, or God forbid by the end of next year, if they still can't hit those kind of target numbers, that will be an interesting discussion. That is for certain. All right, do you want to bring in one more person?
Yeah, totally. Let's talk to the real. It's cut off. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Chris. You hear me okay?
Yeah.
Hey, Chris.
Gotcha. Chris, where are you reaching us from?
I am actually from Jacksonville, Florida, so I'm kind of close to Jason here.
Yeah, you guys should become buddies because he needs some friends. So
yeah, maybe. Well,
can
yeah,
I
we'll
also
definitely.
point out you are in the most indistinct room I have ever seen.
I just literally do not care about like decorations or posters or anything.
All right, but right now, this isn't really like a proof of life photo or something like that.
No,
right?
Yeah.
All right, I just want to make sure. Yeah, we got a little worried there, Chris. So, Chris, are you getting yourself a PS4?
Yes, not at launch. Because my birthday is the very end of January, so that is kind of my target date. And at the very least, March, hopefully, like that kind of area. I would like to have it.
I think by March is where it'll be a lot easier to kind of walk into a store, say, I want a PS4, and they're like, look, we have one. We have one over here. We have one over here. So, okay. What are you excited about for the PS4?
I am just really excited because it is honestly just going to be so freeing to have a console that has a large number of gigabytes, because I still have the 80 gigabyte PS3.
I do too.
Fat
I have that
80
one.
gigabyte PS3.
But mine, I think yours too. Mine's backwards compatible to PS2 games because it has the emotion engine inside of it. I do not know how it survived all these years. It's kind of amazing.
Quality workmanship right there.
Yeah, it's you know what? Actually, I said this on Twitter. One of the things that has just so impressed me about the PlayStation 4, it is small and it's really attractive looking. It is really quiet. I have absolutely no idea how they pulled that off, because I expected this thing to be really, really hot, or to be just like making those horrible noises like the PlayStation 3, which sounds like, you know, it's like a steamroller, but it's really elegant and quiet. It's really, really cool. Anyway, sorry I didn't need to. I just had that thought in my head there, Chris.
You mentioned on Twitter a little bit ago, you said it runs quiet. Does it run quieter than, say, like a laptop or like a computer, or is it about the same level?
I heard no fan. So I would say,
really?
I have not stress tested this to keep it on for a very long period of time. Not completely. No, I take that back. Never heard it. It was really, really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
And two, for me, one of the big things is the ability to play as you were downloading, because that, to me, like, last night, Dragon's Dogma went up on PS Plus this week, and I downloaded it last night, and it took me 4 hours to download, and then another 30 minutes to install.
Yeah. So
gone are those days on PS4?
Well, what was kind of cool, what they also showed, they showed it with Call of Duty Ghosts. I don't think this is going to happen with all games. I think it's up to the publisher. But so you buy a digital copy of Ghosts. It then says which part of the game do you want to play, and it's multiplayer or single player, and it'll start you in one of those two, and then downloads everything else in the background. They really, I mean, obviously Sony learned from a lot of their mistakes with how they handle stuff like that with the PlayStation 3. So, yeah, I like the downloading in the background too, because there really is no fun game to play while you're watching a downloading bar fill up, you know?
Right, and then like, cause sometimes when you would play a game, it would stop the download, and sometimes it wouldn't. So you had to like look and like check and make sure which ones did and didn't, and
yeah.
So thank God that's over with.
Yes, goodbye to that era. Goodbye to that era. Hey, Nick, you want to bring on... Oh, did we just lose... there's somebody.
Here we go. We've got, let's see here, Landon.
Yo, Landon.
Let's see.
Wow, I just happened to randomly press the button. There.
It looks like somebody dropped out. You got right in there, so
good timing.
Well done. Where are you reaching us from, Landon?
I'm from Lexington, South Carolina.
All right, we really have covered. The Southeast seems to be winning out a little bit now with Florida and South Carolina. Anyway, so are you getting a PS4?
I am. I'm actually getting both. So I'm one of the other guys in this stream that are getting the PS4 Friday and the Xbox next Friday. And I'm primarily a PC gamer, but I play it all. So.
You are about as agnostic as anyone I've ever met about their gaming. I like you.
Yeah, I'm not a fanboy by any means, but I play on a large projector screen, so with the whole resolution,
I'm so jealous.
that kind of, I can see the difference between 720p and 1080p.
Definitely.
So.
How big a wall do you have?
Well, I built a fake wall, but it's a 136-inch screen with a 3D 1080.
Wow!
I need to come over your house.
That's where you really start to see differences in resolution. There's no question about that.
But like a 40-inch TV.
Wait, you built a... What's a fake wall? It's either what's a fake wall?
As opposed to a real wall?
Is it like a ghost wall?
Well, basically from the shape of the room, it's a frog, a room over the garage. So we had to finish out a wall in front of a window to hang the screen to black out the window at the same time. So that's just one of the things that we did. We had to basically come in with 2x4s and just cut it up and then hang the screen right on it. So.
Hey, Landon, if you're okay with it, could you tweet a photo of that at me? I really want to see this. That sounds really, really kind of both industrious and impressive. So
yeah, it's still in its work in progress stage. I mean, the room's all blacked out. It's made into a theater room, but I mean, it's put together, but it's still a huge work in progress. So.
Well, I mean, I tip my hat to you. That is devotion and dedication. Wow.
So there are some. It cracks me up because you got the people on both sides of the argument that is like, the resolution doesn't matter, and then you got people who do have the bigger setups and are like, yeah, it kind of does. And I have 1440p monitors for my PC as well, so you can see the difference in resolution at certain sizes, definitely.
Yeah. So what are you going to play on your Xbox and what are you going to play on your PlayStation 4? As we were talking with the other gentleman earlier, have you made up your mind what a third-party game, which will be your console of choice?
Well, far as the PlayStation 4 goes, I'm getting Killzone, Battlefield 4. I have Battlefield 4 on the PC as well, but one of my buddies is getting it on PS4, so I'm getting it to play with him. And the third game is Assassin's Creed 4. It's Pirates. You can't pass it up.
Yeah, you can't pass up Pirates. And to the discussion that we had earlier, this should be interesting. I think, once these consoles become more available, what's really going to start to help kind of give some clarity to how well one of them is doing is who's buying the one to play with his friends. Like they're almost, you can almost start to see a snowballing effect. You're starting to see this exponential reaction that there's kind of like zero gamer, then zero gamer is like first concentric ring of friends. We're gonna get what he gets, and then the next ring. It should be very interesting. Yeah. Well, Landon, you have definitely thoroughly impressed me with your massive wall darkened room, 130. Man. I'm tired of living in cities. I want something like that. I had to get rid of my game boxes because I have no room.
It's one of those things you've got to have room for, definitely. I mean,
yeah. All right, I'm moving to South Carolina. That's it, Nick. Hey, Nick, do you want to throw one more question from the chat?
Yeah, totally. Here's one from Gabriel Telepack on YouTube. It says, I'm curious about you guys' thoughts on a Wii U Steam Box alternative to consoles. I think what he means is, instead of getting a next-gen console, going PC and Wii U, which is something I'm hearing more and more of these days.
Is it Wii U a next-gen console?
No, I think what he's saying is, like, you get a PC to satisfy your next-gen needs, and then you get a Wii U for Nintendo's exclusives.
Where does the Wii U stand in all this launch madness?
It stands where it stands. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, I don't know what, like a GameStop. I mean, I don't know how much they want to stock that when they are using up space that could be for a PlayStation 4 or for an Xbox One. You know what? I think in another year, the Wii U's finally we're going to start seeing those Nintendo games again. Like, they need like 2 years with every system. That's like, oh, that's the game I wanted to play. So at some point, we're going to be talking about them again.
I think Super Mario 3D World might be one of those games for me. Like 3D Land on the 3DS is one of my favorite games of the past 5 years.
Yeah.
If it's half as good as that, that is a compelling piece of software to me.
But in terms of just kind of looking at the PC, there are certain advantages. That's undeniable. I mean, the only thing that you lose out on, as we had talked about earlier, is say with Sony, you're never going to get a Naughty Dog game. You're never going to get kind of those things that are unique to a console. But you're going to get The Witcher 3, and that's what I'm most excited about playing next year. So, I mean, it's a fine way to kind of sit back and just kind of wait and see how the chaos shakes out. Although, to play PC games at the level of what things are going to look like, say, on the PS4, you are actually looking at a larger investment of money. So, I mean, there's another trade-off there as well. All right, well, Nick, I think that's it.
I think, yeah, wow. We actually came in at time for one.
We talked to everybody. So, yeah, PS4. We're going to do this. We're going to try to do this again next week, aren't we, Nick?
Yeah, I think we'll do this again for the Xbox launch.
Yes. What day we're going to do it, we have not decided. I have a handful of games I need to be getting through, and so once I know what that schedule is going to look like, we will know when we'll be doing our Address to Sess. I would like to thank all of you guys for joining us and everyone else out at the chat. It really is a pleasure. There's so much rancor right now out there on the internet. To do something like this really helps part the forest for the trees, and I can tell you on a personal level, I really appreciate it.
If I could interject one quick question.
Yeah, sure thing.
The game that you're most interested in at launch and post-launch?
At launch and post-launch? I'm most interested in. That's a great question, because I've been so focused on just covering a console launch, I kind of forgot that there's personal pleasure that I might be getting out of it. The one I'm most... Right now, I'm tempted to say Infamous. And maybe because it was only like 48 hours ago, I was kind of playing around with it and really had that moment of, oh God, I love it when Sucker Punch makes a game. But that one, I like adventure games, and I kind of, I like that stuff. And yes, like Dead Rising 3 is kind of open world, but it is a different type of game. I was definitely bummed when Watch Dogs didn't make it out this year, because those are the kind of games that I look forward to playing on my own time and not even just in a professional capacity. So yeah. That's what I would say.
Okay. Where's the racer?
If you guys are curious about when we're doing the next one, the easiest way to find out about that is on our Google Plus page. You just Google for Rev3 Games Google Plus and you'll find it. We also post it to our Facebook, facebook.com/Rev3Games and twitter.com/Rev3Games. All of those places you will find information as soon as we pick a date and all that fun stuff.
Yes, and that will happen sooner than later. But we just need to kind of confer, Nick and I, and figure out what works best. All right, guys.
Okay,
thank you so much. Yes.
Just a quick question. What are you probably going to do a review on this? But have you played Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus yet?
I have not. I have been trying to get down as many games as I possibly can. I think I'm not traveling again for the rest of the year, and that will give me an opportunity. Obviously, yes, I love Ratchet & Clank, and it's something I need to get my hands on, but I don't want to steer you in any direction on that one until I spend some time with it. All right, Jonathan?
Okay, thanks very much.
Well, could I just ask actually one
guys,
question? Because it's the last time this actually could probably be discussed in a sense. I know Naughty Dog is announcing the story DLC for Last of Us. And before we find out what that is, do you think that could potentially ruin a game by finding out too much of a story, leaving something that's secret? Do you think DLC has the potential, in a sense, to ruin something that is great as is?
I assume, and trust me, this is me speculating, I assume the DLC does not deal with the characters from The Last of Us. It takes place in the world with new characters. So you're looking at the events from a different perspective. And in that case, I'm not too worried that it's going to undo that amazing sensation of seeing the game. I just do not see Naughty Dog trying to explain something that they have not already explained. It just doesn't sound right.
I'm talking about that little story you found as you went along in the sewers and stuff like that. I think that's great as a mystery, and to find those secrets and let it unfold. I wouldn't want that told in a sense.
I have a great deal of confidence in a company like Naughty Dog who are sensitive to things like that. They're very proud of their creation, and the last thing they want to do is to go and undermine that. So I think you're safe, but you can always wait until I play it and I'll tell you. So.
All right, guys.
I apologize.
We got to run, but thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thanks, Adam.
Yes, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
Hey, guys.
Bye.